Alright guys, in today's video I would like to talk about something that I think is extremely important. What I talk about today is one of the most important pieces of advice I could ever give to you, and this advice will be especially profound for new spiritual seekers. And I use that term spiritual loosely because that term can mean so many different things for different types of people. But basically, if you're wondering what's true, you're trying to find a deeper meaning in life, you're asking questions such as, what is reality? What is the purpose of my existence? What are we doing here? Then this piece of advice will put you on the right track. And what I want to say here is very simple and straightforward, and it's that no belief system is the truth. The number one pitfall of new spiritual seekers is that they move from one belief system to another, all while doing very little to no inner work. I don't know how many times I've seen someone break out of, say, Christianity and then go over to some New Age spirituality belief system where they go and treat it as absolute truth. Like, oh, my way is the one correct way and all of you guys are wrong. And I've also lately been seeing the reverse happen with people going from New Age back to spirituality, but that's not really the point. I've also seen people fall into conspiracy theories that make no sense. I've seen people worship gurus that clearly don't deserve to be worshipped. And I want to make something clear here. I'm not bashing the schools of thought themselves. There are profound lessons in every school of thought that you should go out and learn yourself. What I'm bashing is the people who invest themselves so deeply into a religion or a single school of thought that it becomes like absolute truth for them, and then they go and think their way is the number one correct way, and they think all other people who don't believe what they do are delusional. So I really want to hammer this in when I say that no belief is the truth. Christianity is not the truth. Islam is not the truth. Buddhism is not the truth. No philosophical school of thought is the truth. A purely scientific worldview is not the truth. No belief is the truth, because you have to recognize what a belief is. A belief is simply a hunch about what is true. It's an idea about what's true that exists solely within your own mind, but it's not the truth itself. It's the mind's interpretation of truth, and the mind is very far from perfect. If you're being even remotely honest with yourself, then you know your mind can deceive you. And beliefs are one way that the mind deceives you. And it deceives you by providing a false sense of clarity and certainty. So when you walk the spiritual path, it's very important you get content with being in a state of not knowing. A lot of people are not content with this. A lot of people unconsciously feel like they have to know. They have to feel certain about what this world is and who they are and like how they should live their life. And this is just the ego biting them in the ass, because it's the ego that finds comfort in its sense of knowing. The ego wants to feel like it has the answers, like it has the truth. It hates not knowing. It hates uncertainty. So when you bite the bullet and walk your own spiritual path and you try to actually discover what's true, you need to be content with not knowing. You need to free yourself from the need to believe in something. And I'm sure most of you can realize that, the most deluded people are the ones who invest themselves the strongest in one particular belief system. I think a lot of us watching this can see that. And I'm willing to bet that a key reason all of you are even into spirituality and spiritual awakening in the first place is because you look at the world and you see how flawed it is. And you don't want to be someone who is contributing to the flaws of humanity. Humanity has a disgusting history, and our reality today is not so great either. We're destroying our environment, potentially to catastrophic levels. We have massive wealth inequality across the globe. 1 billion people are still starving, even though as a species we produce plenty of food to feed everyone. There's still war going on in many places, and the list of devilish things can go on and on and on. But the reason all these things happen is because people are too goddamn selfish, which in other words means they're too identified with ego. And because all the evil that happens in the world first happens because of the mind making a decision, a key aspect of spirituality is healing our minds and getting into a space where we aren't living so strongly in ego anymore and are actually living for a purpose higher than our own selves. And what I'm basically describing here is just vertical development. I like to use the terms vertical development and spiritual development interchangeably. And if you want an in-depth video on a description of vertical development, check out my video titled The Only Way to Spiritually Evolve as a Human. But to gloss over that video very briefly here, I talk about how all vertical or spiritual development is being able to take on a greater, more holistic perspective of yourself in relation to the world, and through that your mindset, your worldview, your values, your identity, and just your mind's meaning-making paradigm in general change in a way that's more selfless and more aligned with oneness and less selfish and less identified with ego. So when it comes to the ego's need for certainty, recognize that the way the ego is able to operate and maintain its grasp over you is through the beliefs it has about itself. Our ego mind is like the filter that consciousness runs through. It comes with an agenda, and this agenda is primarily reinforced through beliefs and assumptions. And these beliefs, you see, they're like spells, like how a witch casts a spell on people. Because when you believe something to be true, it becomes reality for you. And then every action you'll ever take and every thought you'll ever have aligns with this reality the spell has put you in. And really what spiritual awakening is all about is breaking out of the spell we've been in our entire lives. So if you leave one belief system where you've treated it as absolute truth and then go and join another one and do the same exact thing and nothing internally about you has changed, then you're still in the spell because the structure of your mind is still the same. It's just the content of the spell would have changed a little bit. What you truly need to do to break out of the spell is to be able to recognize how your beliefs are affecting you, those around you, and the world at large, and drop the beliefs that no longer serve you in the greater whole. And this is a primary aspect of what spirituality is all about. It's transcending the mind's ingrained beliefs that have held you back, made you and others suffer, and which have held you back from discovering your true nature, ultimately, which is enlightenment. Spirituality is much less so about acquiring beliefs, although you can and should do that if done so consciously. But if you stay on the path of continuing to spiritually develop yourself to the highest degree, you'll get to a point where you'll transcend the domain of beliefs altogether because you realize that from an absolute perspective, no belief could ever be true because it's an idea about what's true and not the truth itself, and that the absolute truth, which is enlightenment, can only be directly experienced. But that part is very complex. I'm sure most of you aren't there. I don't claim to be there. I don't claim to be enlightened, although that is a goal of mine one day. But what I want you to really take away from this video is that beliefs really are like spells. What you believe will hypnotize you and entrance you. So be conscious of that and recognize the delusion you're falling into when you abide by only one school of thought and put it on the pedestal of absolute truth. Be able to distinguish between belief and truth and recognize that beliefs are hunches about what is true and not actually the truth itself. Be able to recognize when your ego gets so invested into a belief system that you actually mistake it for the truth. This often happens when you wrap your entire identity into a belief system. That is, you've spent your entire life believing it, you've built your entire life around it, all your friends believe in it, etc. So basically, the higher the cost of your ego giving up the belief system, the more likely it is that you'll put it on the pedestal of absolute truth. And that's just how survival works, because when you wrap your ego into it, it's like survival for you. So I hope this video was insightful to you. I hope it puts you on the right track. Please like the video and drop a comment. It helps promote the video so it gets shown to more people. Follow me on Instagram at thecuriousminds434, and if you wish to support my work on a deeper level, I do have a Patreon with various tiers on there with perks. That would definitely help me out a lot because I don't make a lot of money from this channel, but of course guys, no pressure. And as always, have a great day and peace.